Hi, I'm Sam, your inner voice and self-trust coach for women who refuse to choose between career success and being fully present with their kids. This is Journal Entries, where we break free from self-sabotage, reconnect with our inner wisdom, and live truly fulfilled lives in both of our roles. Let's dive in. Hello. Welcome back to Journal Entries. Before we officially get started, I just have to say that my dad is right outside mowing the lawn. So if you hear a lawnmower or buzzing in the background, however it might come through, that's what it is. I apologize, but we are going to deal with it because it's summertime and I'm not complaining because I live in Western New York and this summer it is not summering here. So I'm accepting this sunny day and the long grass. All right. So today, we are getting into a question that I've been getting asked a lot recently, and I've been getting asked this by my closest friends and even my business coach, and I think it's because they're the closest to me and they feel the most comfortable asking this. They ask me, Sam, what do you actually do? Like in your business, I know you have these coaching calls with people. I know you help people feel better. I know what you say, but how? What do you do? And so today I am pulling back the curtain and walking you through a real session that I had with my client, Kristi, just earlier this week. Kristi is a CFO, and she is preparing mentally and situationally to become a mom. And she was struggling with something that so many of you message me about, and just something that I hear from working moms. And that is balancing a career that she's worked really hard to earn that position, and one that she enjoys most of the time. But she wants to set boundaries so that she can actually disconnect and feel present at home without just coming home at 5 p.m. and dumping all of the stress on her husband. So that's a little bit of the backstory. But Kristi came to our session with an update from a challenge that I gave her from our first call. This challenge was reflective of one of her goals, and her goal is to be comfortable leaving the office at 3 p.m. so that eventually when she does have kids, she can be present with them. She, at the time that she was telling me this, felt guilty even thinking about leaving at 3 p.m., knowing that her employees were there until 5 and some even stayed later than 5. I told her that we can start getting her nervous system ready for leaving at 3 p.m. now instead of waiting for when kids come into the picture. Another goal of Kristi's is to manage her stress better. And so I paired those two together and challenged her to prioritize her self-care during the day. So earlier in the month, she messaged me saying that she decided to book a massage for 3:30 p.m., knowing that she had to leave the office at 3. Fast forward to our call earlier this week, and she said that she almost canceled the massage 5 times, but she actually went through with it, and she was so happy that she did because obviously, who doesn't love a massage? She was leaving me voice messages after the massage, and I responded saying, "Oh my gosh, you sound so relaxed." And she even noticed that herself. She said, "I feel so zen." And she said that she went into the office the next day feeling calmer and in a better headspace. On our coaching session, we dug deeper. I walked her through my framework that helps you to create different results in your life by taking different actions, because she loved the result that just happened. She wants to leave at 3 p.m. And so the action that she took was scheduling a massage, and she actually did it. Rachel Hollis talks a lot about this, although I take it one step further to make the change that you take concrete versus just something that you do one time. I'm thinking of calling it my Autopilot Override Framework, because so many of our choices, like almost canceling that massage at 3:30 p.m., are made not just from us being on autopilot, but from our autopilot beliefs. So anyways, here's what we did. First, we mapped out everything that she wants differently in her life. And then I had her identify specific actions for each one. And then the game changer part is I had her connect how each action makes her better. We used examples that she already has accomplished so that she can see the direct correlation, and we created new examples for what she desires in her future. Something cool that I've definitely mentioned before on the podcast is that our brain doesn't actually know the difference between what has happened and what hasn't happened, which is why visualization works so well as a tool for manifesting something in your life. And how you do that is by first thinking of something that you have accomplished that has worked out in your favor, immediately followed by something that you want to have happen. So we paired that tool with this framework. Some examples of things that Kristi wants differently in her life are better communication with her team at work, uninterrupted work time where she's not being interrupted putting out fires throughout the day, regular time off scheduled in advance, and more confidence in her leadership role. And then she identified actions for each one. First, she actually recalled how earlier in the week she forced herself to have a difficult conversation with a coworker instead of her default of avoiding the conversation altogether, which is one of her top sabotage patterns, by the way, that we worked through on our second call together. Another action she identified was scheduling her work from home mornings, and then also putting 3-day weekends on the calendar months ahead. When we talked about scheduling work from home mornings, I could tell that there was a little bit of resistance just in her body language. And so I asked her, what's going on when I say that? What's happening internally? What would prevent you from actually working from home? Is it that you have a resistance to being home or away from the office? And she said, probably a little bit of both, being away from the office and disruptions at home. So those are two things that we'll work on a different call. But then we made it to the third step, and she connected how each action makes her better. And she realized things like that massage that she went to created calmer evenings. She went home to her husband that night, so much calmer, and more mental clarity. The difficult conversation that she had at work meant more confidence in the company direction. And more time off will prevent burnout, and it lets her show up fully in her role and for her employees. One of her breakthroughs on the call was when she realized that her brother, who works at the same company, takes off at 2 p.m. just on a random rainy day to be with his kids. And here she is judging herself for needing the same flexibility even without kids. Another breakthrough happened when I asked her about her vision for her employees. She realized that she wants to give them flexibility too, but she was denying herself that same thing. By the end of our coaching call, Kristi saw that advocating for her needs isn't selfish, it's leadership. She saw that her needs and how she copes with stress might be different than others at the company, especially in a male-dominated field, and that she is the only one responsible for her well-being. Kristi was visualizing herself a year from now, confident in her schedule, taking every other Friday off in the summer, having hired more people at the office so that she can mentor instead of being in the weeds every day. She went from almost canceling that massage to planning a whole new way of leading. Now, that was a great session, but we're not done, because even though we worked on the guilt that she feels for leaving the office early and how she wants to feel and the type of atmosphere she wants at work without that guilt and feeling confident in what she chooses to do at the office, she messaged me afterwards, since my private clients get unlimited messenger support. And she said how she bought a boat this past year, and she's excited to use it this summer on those long weekends, those 3-day weekends. But she feels like she has had to hide her excitement about it and not celebrate the fact that she and her husband bought this boat, because she feels like it's bragging or that others will perceive that she's better than them, even though she doesn't feel that way at all. I could totally relate to what she means. I had to work through this exact same thing, actually. And I don't know if it's because we are both projectors in human design, or people pleasing is both of our top sabotage patterns, but I had to work through it with earning income, actually. I had a struggle of not earning more income because I didn't want others to think that I was better than them, even though I was the leader. And looking back, I can now see that being the leader of a team, I should be the one earning more income and setting the pace for the team, not minimizing myself just so that I can be, quote unquote, one of them. I also had a struggle of desiring to build my dream home, but subconsciously, I was pushing away that dream, that desire, because I felt like others would think that they are less than for not having as great of a home as me. The thing is that those people likely aren't even thinking those thoughts. It's a projection that we have, and we get to choose differently. And if they are thinking those thoughts, you get to detach from their judgment and expectations. This is the type of work that I do. I love it. If you're not watching the video of this, I am smiling from ear to ear because it is so powerful. I don't just tell you to practice self-care. I help you see why it makes you better, what specific actions to take, and how to get rock solid confident in what you need. And that's just the self-care portion. We also go into self-sabotage and how it's keeping you stuck. We go into what's holding you back and how it's linked to the judgments and expectations that you feel for yourself and from others. We link all of those things to how it's impacting you at work and how it's impacting you at home. And that's just the surface, because everyone that I work with, especially in a one-on-one capacity, has very different goals and different things that come up. And when it comes down to it, the goal isn't just about feeling better. It's about becoming the person who naturally makes these choices without the guilt, without imposter syndrome, and feeling confident in herself and trusting herself. If you are a working mom who's tired of feeling guilty every time you prioritize yourself, or every time you think about prioritizing yourself, you feel the guilt so that you don't do the thing, and you want to stop the self-sabotage patterns that are keeping you stuck in overwhelm, whether you know what your patterns are directly or not, I do have 2 open spots right now for private coaching. In our work together, you will get the framework that I talked about today, plus my self-sabotage mapping system to identify and disrupt the patterns keeping you overwhelmed. Maybe you're like Kristi and me, that defaults to people pleasing and hyperachieving, but you might not be, and maybe your default is restless and perfectionism, or maybe you are the overthinker or the hyper rational. You will also get unlimited messaging support when those guilt spirals hit between sessions. And I love the on-the-spot coaching. Those are some of the most powerful, quote unquote, sessions, because you are the most emotionally charged when something happens to you, not just when we have a call scheduled. You will go from feeling selfish for taking time off to feeling confident that advocating for your needs is leadership, both at work and at home. So if this sounds like exactly what you need, something that you've been waiting for, like you've been waiting for a sign, this is it. This is your sign. Click the link in the show notes and it will bring you to a site to learn everything about what it would be like to work with me. You'll get the pricing, you'll get all of the details. You can even sign up for one of the 2 spots. If you see a wait list, that means that the spots have already been claimed. And you can also email me to request a custom contract or to ask me any questions. I hope that this episode was able to give you some clarity on what it's like to work with me and the type of work that I do. And maybe even a glimpse into some work that you need to do, realizing that it's more than just self-care. It's more than just people pleasing. It goes so much deeper. And once you're able to identify that and free yourself from that, your whole life, your whole world, your whole day opens up. Thanks for tuning in, and I will see you next time. Thanks for joining me for today's journal entry. If something resonated with you, I'd love to know about it. Screenshot this episode, share it on social media, and tag me at samantha.s.says. Or even leave a review, which will help more women find this podcast to create more fulfillment in their career and as a mom. And hey, if you're thinking, I wish I could get more of this, I've got you covered. Click on the link in the show notes, which I customize each week based on what we're talking about. And I always include the link to the Calm Mind Blueprint, which are my 5 journal prompts to go from overwhelm to inner peace in 2 to 10 minutes a day. Subscribe so that you catch my Thursday 5-minute journal with me episodes and next week's full episode where we will continue this journey together. I'll see you then.